Hello guys, it's 899 here and welcome to NRL Tips and Predictions Round 20. Oh, we're coming down to the business end of the season, very much so. I've said that the last couple of weeks, but in all seriousness, it is getting to the serious end, and there's a lot of big games this weekend, so let's get into it. So first up this week, it is a huge clash in deciding on who will take into the finals and the final spots. It is the Sydney Roosters playing away to the team that is afraid of Skittles. Now, obviously, there's been a little bit of controversy over a certain team being scared of a bunch of colours on a jersey. So we're not gonna get into that. But what we will go into is how the teams did go in the last week, and the Roosters last weekend had a 30-point win over the Knights. Kind of just shows how lackluster the Knights have been in terms of recency, whilst the team that hasn't had a man play for them since Ian Roberts left the club actually suffered a fairly tight game in a loss against the St George Illawarra Dragons. It's with the game between 8th and 9th, with them tied on the same points, it really can decide on the impact of who actually gets that 8th spot, because you also got Canberra and the Dragons tied for those. But personally, I've never wanted the Roosters to peg a team as much as I want them to do this week. So Roosters 13 plus. Yeah, it all personally. But anyways, let's go into the next game. Now we go into the first game on the Friday, and it's the New Zealand Warriors hosting the Melbourne Storm. Obviously, the Melbourne Storm are currently on one of their worst spells of form in recent memory. 4 straight defeats, which also included a 12-point loss to the Rabbitohs last week. The Warriors, they played alright against Canberra last week, but unfortunately the Warriors weren't able to get over the line. Now, of course, this being in New Zealand, I don't know. I personally think the Storm will finally break their streak in this game in terms of my prediction, but again, I wouldn't be surprised the Warriors, because being in New Zealand, it could help them. I don't know. You just never know. And now we go into the Friday night game right at the end, the main Friday night game. It is the Parramatta Eels against the Penrith Panthers. Obviously, the last time these two teams played, Parramatta were have put the only loss on the Panthers' record this season at Bluebet. So, but Penrith did have a bit of a close game against Cronulla in the wet, but they were able to get the win. But Parramatta were just absolutely shocking against Brisbane. And personally, I feel like by the way the current forms are at the moment, I think Penrith should definitely get revenge on Parramatta for that earlier result. Now we go to the first game on the Saturday, and it is the Gold Coast Titans up against the Canberra Raiders. Now Canberra, again, one of the teams tied on 20 points, trying to desperately cling for the finals, as the Titans very desperately trying to avoid the wooden spoon. It is at the Gold Coast. And so if we go into last week, the Titans actually played all right, but unfortunately the Dogs just were very hungry for that result in a 36-26 win. The Canberra Raiders did get a 12-point win over the Warriors last week, obviously continuing their form of obviously trying to make it into the finals. And I personally think Canberra will win this game and hopefully put them in the continuing charge for the finals. Now we go into the second game on the Saturday. It is the Cronulla Sharks up against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. A very big game, to say the least. 3rd versus 6th. Basically, if the Rabbitohs win, they can go up to as high as 4th, or even 3rd, depending on how big the result is, if it's like a thrashing. There has been a lot of talks about how South Sydney, if they actually are title contenders. I feel like if they beat Cronulla at Shark Park, where the Sharks have actually been made it somewhat of a fortress, I do think that they can, if they beat the Sharks, then I feel like they can be contenders, and I do feel that the Rabbitohs will do that. And now the final game on the Saturday, it is the Brisbane Broncos against the West Tigers. I don't think there's really much need to be said about the Titans' last game, just to say that was some bullshit. The Broncos in the last week, they had a very strong win against Parramatta, really solidifying themselves in that top 4. And unfortunately for Tigers fans, I think the Broncos will continue their run of form, and the Tigers will receive yet another loss. Now we go to the Sunday games, and the first off, it is Spoon Bowl 3 technically, because I think the Titans and the Dogs counts as a Spoon Bowl last week, maybe? I think so. So anyways, it is the Knights against the Bulldogs. Bulldogs with a big win over the Titans last week, and the Knights with a big loss against the Roosters. It is at Newcastle. I think the Dogs should easily win. And then we go to the final game on Sunday. It is the St George Illawarra Dragons up against the North Queensland Cowboys. So the Dragons last week had a very solid win against Manly, making it a low-scoring affair, whilst the Cowboys were kind of silver platter gifted a win against the Tigers. But I feel like because being with the Dragons is they keep it low scoring, like they did against Manly, they can win the games. The Cowboys needed to be a high scoring match. They need to come out there and score points. But if the Dragons can keep them under lock, I think the Dragons can win this game. And I personally think they will. So that is going to be the end of my predictions for round 20. If you guys disagree, let me know what you think will happen in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later.